A true ninja didn't need shadows to disappear. He simply changed shape. Farmer at sunrise, monk by noon, traveling merchant at dusk. The greatest weapon of the shinobi was becoming someone you'd never suspect. Disguise and identity manipulation defined real ninja operations far beyond combat or stealth, turning the shinobi into chameleons who infiltrated enemy domains not through force but through seamless belonging. While popular images focus on black-clad assassins leaping walls, historical ninjas spent more time as ordinary people, blending into crowds, households, and hierarchies where swords were useless, but information was power. Transforming into monks, merchants, farmers, performers, and travelers allowed ninjas to access every layer of society undetected. A servant overheard council secrets, a healer entered private chambers, a trader crossed guarded borders with hidden messages. These personas weren't costumes, they were total immersions in behavior, speech, and expectation, making the ninja invisible because no one looked twice at the woodcutter or begging priest. Mastery of disguise revealed the shinobi as intelligence operatives first, warriors second. Subscribe for the full transformation series, like if disguise mastery blows your mind, and comment which ninja persona you'd use, monk, merchant, or farmer. For the shinobi, transformation was not mere trickery, it was psychological warfare at its purest. By becoming someone else, a ninja didn't just hide. He invaded the enemy's sense of security. A lord who saw only his trusted servant pouring tea never suspected the hand holding the cup had mapped his castle's weaknesses. Disguise eroded the mental barriers that made people feel safe, turning familiarity into vulnerability. The shinobi understood that enemies guarded against warriors and shadows, but relaxed around farmers, monks, and merchants, precisely the roles ninjas mastered to strike without resistance. This demanded a radical mindset, abandoning self-identity to survive. A shinobi trained to detach from ego, name, and personal history, viewing the self as a tool to be shed like old clothes. Who you are became situational, not fixed. Pride in skill or clan dissolved during missions. Survival required total immersion in the role. Failure meant death, but so did hesitation born from clinging to one's true face. Masters taught that the greatest danger was not discovery by guards, but the internal slip, a habitual gesture, a flash of true personality that betrayed the mask. Training to erase personal mannerisms began young and never ended. Apprentices practiced before mirrors or peers, eliminating unique tics, a habitual shoulder twitch, a preferred hand for scratching the chin, the way eyes darted under stress. They repeated phrases in monotone until emotional inflection vanished, held unnatural postures for hours to break natural sway. Role-playing sessions simulated scrutiny, elders grilling them as suspicious innkeepers or sharp-eyed samurai. Only when mannerisms dissolved completely did a disguise become believable. The smallest unconscious habit could unravel months of preparation. Studying social classes was equally rigorous. Shinobi spent time among peasants, artisans, samurai, and priests, mapping behaviors like terrain. A farmer's slumped shoulders from field labor differed from a merchant's forward-leaning eagerness. A monk's serene gaze contrasted a beggar's averted eyes. They noted how laborers spoke in short bursts between tasks, while nobles lingered on pleasantries. This knowledge wasn't memorized, it was lived through extended immersion, ensuring no detail rang false under casual conversation or close inspection. Ethics of deception in shinobi culture justified the practice as necessary survival. Unlike samurai bound by rigid bushido, ninjas served higher duties: clan preservation, mission success, protecting the weak through cunning. Lies and false faces weren't sins but tools, like a tanto blade. Scrolls emphasized detachment. Deception harmed only when it served selfishness. When protecting innocents or toppling tyrants, it aligned with greater harmony. Still, internal codes warned against needless cruelty, insisting true mastery lay in precision, not wanton betrayal. Learning dialects and accents across provinces turned language into another skin. Japan's regional variations, Kansai drawl, Tohoku gutturals, Kyushu sharpness, were catalogued and practiced. Shinobi memorized not just words, but rhythms. Fishermen's clipped phrases, Kyoto courtiers' elegant pauses. They trained with voice modulators, humming reed mouthpieces to alter timbre, ensuring a young man could sound like a gravelly elder or high-pitched youth. In a nation where accent betrayed origin instantly, perfect mimicry granted free passage anywhere. Adjusting posture and walking patterns completed the physical illusion. Each persona carried its body differently. Peasants shuffled under imagined loads, samurais strode with contained power, merchants hustled with purpose. Shinobi bound chests, padded limbs, or used subtle weights to force unnatural gaits until they became second nature. A farmer's sway mimicked carrying hoes. A noble's glide suggested hidden katana balance. These details fooled not just eyes, but the subconscious. People sensed rightness or wrongness before conscious thought. Ninjas chose disguise over stealth when walls were too high, guards too vigilant, or time too short for covert entry. Stealth suited night infiltration of isolated keeps, but bustling towns, guarded roads, or daytime castles demanded belonging. Why scale a sheer cliff, risking alarm when a woodcutter's cart passed unchallenged? Disguise bypassed defenses by exploiting human trust in the ordinary. When a target expected assassins from shadows, the smiling healer or gossiping servant became the unseen blade. Mastery of disguise revealed the shinobi's true genius, turning society's own structures against it. By becoming the invisible majority, the laborers, travelers, holy men, ninjas accessed secrets no spy in black could dream of. Yet this philosophy carried a shadow. What happened when the mask became too perfect, when a shinobi forgot which face was his own? The monk's robes offered answers, and entry to places no farmer could tread. Monks moved freely between villages and castles because they embodied spiritual neutrality in a divided Japan. No one questioned a holy man's passage. Wandering ascetics crossed guarded borders, entered private estates for blessings, and lodged in temples near daimyo strongholds without raising alarms. Samurai respected their detachment from clan loyalties. Peasants offered food and shelter out of piety. This universal trust made the monk persona ideal for shinobi. A shaved head and saffron robes granted access where armed spies or merchants faced scrutiny. Temples served as natural intelligence hubs, drawing travelers, officials, and warriors who spoke freely around celibate listeners. Replicating Buddhist rituals and prayers required months of study. Shinobi memorized sutras like the Heart Sutra or Lotus Sutra, chanting with precise rhythm and intonation to match sect traditions, Zen brevity or Shingon elaboration. They practiced mudras, hand gestures, during mock ceremonies, ensuring fluid execution that betrayed no hesitation. A single mispronounced phrase or awkward bow could expose fakery. True immersion meant living the role, attending real temple services incognito to absorb cadence and fervor. This authenticity turned suspicion into reverence. Prayer beads, juzu, robes, kesa, and shaved head illusions completed the visual transformation. Robes were layered for hidden pockets, carrying tools or scrolls, dyed earth tones blending with peasant garb when needed. Shaved heads used subtle illusions, close-cropped hair greased flat, cloth wraps mimicking ascetic baldness, or herbal paste darkening scalp lines. Juzu beads doubled as garottes, or weighted distractions, clicked rhythmically during chants to soothe listeners while masking tension. These props signaled harmless devotion, lowering defenses instantly. Hiding messages inside sutra scrolls exploited sacred immunity. Scrolls unrolled contained micro-writing on margins or between lines, visible only under angled light or treated ink. A pilgrim monk presented a sutra for blessing, revealing coded instructions to allies. Poison inks dissolved on exposure, or false layers hid true text. Temples rarely searched holy relics. This method carried orders across provinces undetected, turning scripture into spycraft. Gathering intel at temples thrived on unstructured conversations. Pilgrims, soldiers on leave, and officials visited for purification. Monks comforted them with tea and silence, drawing out boasts, complaints, and plans. A shinobi, posing as a listener, noted troop movements from casual talk, rivalries from heated debates, or supply shortages from grumbled logistics. Temples hosted diverse visitors, creating natural crossroads where one humble brother absorbed the domain's pulse without interrogation. Monastic silence served as perfect cover for observation. Vows of few words excused minimal speech. Eyes wandered freely during meditation, mapping layouts, counting guards, noting escape routes. A silent monk blending into prayer halls overheard retainers plotting in alcoves or servants gossiping in kitchens. Prolonged stays built familiarity. No one questioned the quiet one, lingering in corners. This passivity masked hypervigilance, turning temples into open books. Manipulating spiritual authority extracted deeper secrets. A fake monk offered divine insight to troubled samurai, prompting confessions of doubt or betrayal. Prophecies tailored to fears. The spirits warned of disloyal shadows, sowed paranoia, confirming rumors through visions. Healing rituals with herbal poultices built trust, loosening tongues during private council. Superstitious lords consulted holy men for omens. Shinobi delivered manipulated advice steering alliances or delays, all under piety's veil. Monk disguises enabled assassination attempts when direct access was needed. A visiting sage poisoned tea during audience, hid blades in staff, or strangled targets in secluded confessionals. Historical accounts whisper of monks slipping daggers during midnight blessings, or using juzu cords in prayer struggle. Escape relied on chaos, feigned possession, smoke from incense, or cries of demon expelled. High risk yielded high reward. Killing a lord amid sacred ground sowed doubt in divine protection itself. The monk's robes opened doors no merchant could, but blending with the masses demanded earthier guises. Farmers and laborers offered invisibility in plain sight. Next, the true backbone of shinobi infiltration. Merchants stood out as natural travelers with no fixed allegiance in feudal Japan, making them the perfect shinobi cover. Unlike samurai tied to lords or farmers bound to villages, merchants roamed freely between domains, crossing guarded borders with carts of silk, rice, ironware, or sake. No one questioned their presence at castle gates or bustling markets. Trade was the lifeblood of the economy, and blocking it invited resentment from powerful guilds. A shinobi merchant carried no clan banner, owed loyalty to no daimyo, and blended into the constant flow of commerce. Guards waved them through after a cursory glance at wares, never suspecting the bolt of cloth hid a tanto or the sake barrel concealed scrolls of enemy plans. Using trade goods to hide tools or messages turned everyday cargo into spycraft. Hollowed rice bales contained maps or poison vials. False-bottomed crates masked climbing hooks and smoke powders. Layered textiles wrapped shuriken or forged documents. A merchant sampling sack might pass a laced cup to a talkative guard, or offer defective pottery that shattered to reveal hidden ink messages for allies inside. These concealments exploited the volume of goods. Inspectors rarely unpacked every crate, trusting the merchant's honest face and the rhythm of routine trade. Bargaining conversations became prime intel opportunities. Haggling drew people in. A castle steward, negotiating bulk rice prices, let slip garrison numbers. A rival merchant boasted of supply routes while complaining about tolls. A samurai's wife revealed household routines, buying fine cloth. Shinobi merchants listened twice as much as they spoke, asking innocent questions. "How's the harvest this year?" or "Any trouble on the eastern road?" that prompted revealing answers. Feigned sympathy over poor sales loosened tongues further, turning market chatter into strategic gold without raising alarms. Learning market prices ensured legitimacy under scrutiny. A fake merchant spouting wrong values risked exposure. Rice too cheap screamed outsider. Silk overpriced hinted fraud. Shinobi memorized seasonal fluctuations. Summer greens higher near coasts. Winter ironware scarce inland. They tracked guild rates, toll taxes and shortages from famines or wars, quoting figures with casual accuracy. This knowledge not only passed inspections, but built rapport. Guards or officials who saw a knowledgeable trader dropped vigilance, sharing their own tips on safe roads or upcoming fairs. Mapping castle locations disguised as trade stops yielded detailed intelligence. Merchants sought bulk buyers at outposts, noting guard rotations while discussing delivery times, sketching layouts mentally from stable positions or kitchen entrances. A cart, stuck in mud near walls, allowed casual glances at patrols. Repeated visits as regular suppliers built familiarity, excuses to wander storehouses or ask about expansions. Over weeks, fragmented observations formed complete diagrams, gate weaknesses, blind spots, servant paths, passed via coded ledgers or memorized verse. Bribing guards under commerce guise flowed naturally. A generous sample of sake, extra cloth for your wife, or waived fees on future loads bought silence or tips. Shinobi calibrated bribes to status. Low guards got trinkets, officers quality steel knives for protection. These exchanges yielded keys to side doors, shift changes or lordly habits, all framed as good business. Reciprocity bound the corrupt. A guard whispering about a night patrol felt invested, unlikely to betray his friend. Spreading misinformation while selling news weaponized gossip. Merchants traded stories like commodities, heard bandits hit the Kiso road, lost a whole caravan, or Lord Takeda's hiring mercenaries, big push coming. Half-truths mixed with inventions, circulated via inns and tea houses, reaching enemy ears through harmless chatter. A rumor of poisoned wells delayed troop marches. Whispers of betrayal sowed doubt among retainers. Shinobi timed these tales. Pre-mission panic to thin guards, post-strike exaggerations to amplify chaos. Merchants became the most common ninja disguise because they offered unmatched versatility and low risk. No other persona granted such mobility, access, and plausible deniability. A court merchant was just a trader, not a spy. Wares explained travel, haggling excused questions, high-volume masked anomalies, lost goods stolen by thieves, odd routes seeking better prices. In a war-torn land craving rice and iron, merchants were indispensable, their faces forgotten amid transactions. Shinobi exploited this. Long-term embeds built networks over months, rotating personas seasonally without suspicion. This dominance stemmed from Japan's economy. Daimyo needed external goods, castles required constant supplies, villages thrived on passing trade. Shinobi clans like Iga and Koga controlled mountain trade routes, giving authentic merchant experience. Training emphasized commerce from childhood. Apprentices hawked wares incognito, learning haggling psychology alongside swordplay. Success rates soared. Stealth failed at bright markets, but a merchant thrived there. Yet merchant guises had limits. Scrutiny during sieges or famines, rival traders spotting fakes, goods drawing thieves. Mastery required constant adaptation, switching cargoes, accents, even oxen to match regions. Farmers and laborers offered the next layer, blending not as transients, but as the land's own people, truly invisible in plain sight. The power of blending with the majority of the population made farmers and laborers the ultimate shinobi disguise. No one suspects the bent-backed rice planter or the woodcutter hauling bundles because they formed the unseen backbone of feudal Japan. In a society stratified by samurai, merchants and nobles, peasants comprised over 80% of the population, their faces anonymous in fields, roadsides and village outskirts. A ninja adopting this role didn't hide. He dissolved into the human landscape. Guards at checkpoints saw laborers daily, their dirt-streaked faces and calloused hands signaling no threat. This invisibility granted access to military roads, castle supply yards, and rural outposts where flashier disguises like monks or merchants drew second glances. Wearing weathered clothing sealed the transformation. Shinobi distressed fresh garments with soil, sweat stains, and strategic tears, aging cotton tunics, juban, and wide-legged pants, momohiki, to match local styles, coarser weaves in Tohoku Mountains, lighter fabrics near Kyoto lowlands, straw hats, kasa, shadowed faces, bundled tools, obscured weapons, and bare feet or worn Gita sandals completed the poverty-stricken authenticity. They carried the faint odor of earth and manure, rubbed into cloth for realism. This wasn't superficial costume, it was olfactory and tactile camouflage, fooling not just eyes, but the instinctive smell of one of us. Observing troop movements while in fields turned everyday labor into strategic surveillance. A farmer, hoeing rice paddies near a highway, noted cavalry patrols timing horse counts and officer signals without lifting his gaze. Bent over irrigation ditches, he tracked supply wagons' routes and frequencies. Stacking firewood by roadsides, mapped messenger paths. Prolonged work sessions, days or weeks, built patterns, dawn scouts, midday rations, dusk rotations. Information flowed back via kin networks or hidden drops, turning plow furrows into intelligence veins, rivaling any spy scroll. Using farming tools as improvised weapons elevated the disguise's lethality. A sickle, kama, sliced throats silently. A hoe doubled as a staff for disarming guards. Sharpened bamboo stakes from tool bundles impaled silently. Carrying a bundle of kindling concealed caltrops, tetsubishi, or smoke powders. A water gourd hid poison or caltrops. These everyday implements required no search explanation. Guards saw tools, not arsenal. In ambushes, a laborer swung a mattock like a warhammer, then melted back into fields, leaving baffled pursuers questioning if they'd fought ghosts or peasants. Pretending fatigue avoided attention masterfully. Shinobi slumped shoulders, shuffled steps, and emitted weary sighs, mimicking bone-deep exhaustion from dawn to dusk toil. Pausing to rest near checkpoints allowed eavesdropping. Feigned naps by roadsides positioned them for unseen observation. This lethargy disarmed suspicion. Alert spies hurried, but tired laborers dawdled naturally. Guards dismissed slumped figures as harmless drudges, never imagining the sleeping farmer memorized their watch changes or boot prints. Hiding documents in baskets and sacks exploited labor's bulk. Woven rice baskets, keigo, concealed rolled parchments in false bottoms. Grain sacks held waterproofed messages in oilcloth linings. Tool bundles wrapped scrolls around knife hilts. Vegetables or firewood screened compartments. Carrots hollowed for vials. Logs drilled for micromaps. Delivery to allied inns or temples unloaded intel seamlessly. Spilled produced scattered diversions during escapes. High volume defeated casual searches. Who unpacked every radish? Perfecting regional accents of rural villages, breathed life into the guise. Shinobi drilled dialects obsessively. Nasal Iga twang, clipped Koga gutturals, elongated Tohoku vowels. They matched vocabulary, coastal fishers' terms versus mountain foragers' slang, and rhythms, slow peasant drawls versus hurried urban laborers. Practice involved shadowing real workers, mimicking until indistinguishable. A wrong inflection betrayed outsiders instantly. Flawless speech granted village entry, informant chats, and unchallenged passage. Entering restricted areas by posing as delivery workers bypassed gates entirely. Castles needed constant food, firewood, charcoal. Villages supplied via corvée labor. A shinobi hauler with sake barrels or rice bales passed outer walls unquestioned. Guards more concerned with bribes than inspections. Inside compounds they navigated kitchens, stables and storehouses, noting layouts while unloading. Feigned illiteracy excused reading orders. Dropped items created pretexts to wander. High turnover labor meant forgotten faces. A week's deliveries mapped escape routes better than any scout. Farmers offered shinobi unmatched endurance. Rural networks spanned provinces. Kin hid fugitives. Fields concealed camps. Low risk yielded high reward. Long-term embeds sowed discord via peasant grievances, timed riots or poisoned wells. Unlike merchants' scrutiny or monks' reverence, laborers evoked pity or indifference, perfect for the shadows. Yet limits existed. Famine drew suspicion to strangers. Samurai scorned filth, seasonal work forced rotations. Mastery balanced immersion with exit strategies, abandoning loads mid-task, fleeing overseers. Healers and doctors offered trusted intimacy next. Hands that cured opened doors, blades never could. Healers and traveling doctors were welcomed everywhere in feudal Japan because they represented hope amid suffering. No household turned away a man promising relief from fever, wounds, or childbirth pains. In a land plagued by wars, famines, and diseases, itinerant physicians roamed roads with herbal kits and poultices, their arrival hailed as mercy. Samurai lords summoned them for battle injuries, peasants begged treatment for sick children, temples housed them as wandering sages. This universal need granted shinobi doctors access to forbidden quarters, private bedchambers, guarded barracks, even daimyo audiences, where swords or stealth would fail. No one searched a healer's satchel for maps. Instead, they offered tea and secrets. Carrying herbal pouches maintained flawless authenticity. Shinobi filled bags with real remedies: licorice root for coughs, ginger for stomach ills, mugwort for bruises, sourced from mountains or markets to match regional cures. Pouches of layered cloth hid compartments, outer pockets for visible herbs, inner linings for scrolls or vials, needles for acupuncture doubled as picks. Bamboo tubes held salves or poisons. The earthy scent of dried plants masked any metallic tang from tools, while rattling vials signaled genuine medicine during inspections. A doctor without a bulging, fragrant kit aroused doubt. Authenticity bred trust. Using knowledge of medicine built unbreakable bonds. Shinobi trained extensively in diagnostics, pulse reading, monko, tongue inspection, herbal lore from Chinese classics like the Benkao Gang Mu. They learned acupressure points, moxibustion burns, and basic surgery, enough to treat arrow wounds or infections convincingly. Success stories spread. The wandering doctor saved my son's leg. This reputation opened doors. Families shared histories. Samurai revealed campaigns. Servants gossiped routines. Trust turned strangers into informants. A grateful patient babbled freely over recovery tea. Treating minor wounds earned entry into the most secure homes. A shinobi doctor offered to lance boils, bind sprains, or set broken fingers, gaining intimate access. Samurai with sword cuts from training invited him to barracks. Noble women with headaches called him to inner quarters. While cleaning gashes or applying salves, eyes scanned layouts, escape routes via servant paths, weapon caches in alcoves. Casual questions, does the pain worsen at night, drew answers revealing sleep patterns or guard shifts. Gratitude blinded suspicion. Payment in rice or coin sealed alliances for future visits. Extracting information during examinations exploited vulnerability. Patients in pain or fever spoke unguardedly under a healer's vow of silence. Probing a wound mirrored probing secrets. This cut from the border skirmish elicited battle details. Family histories revealed alliances. Children's symptoms mapped water sources or famines. Physical closeness allowed overhearing whispers, noting scars hinting ranks or glimpsing tattoos signaling clans. The doctor's calm authority coaxed confessions. My lord trusts no one since the betrayal, fueling dossiers without interrogation. Poison-related myths swirled around ninja doctors, blending truth with terror. Legends claimed shinobi laced poultices with tetrodotoxin from pufferfish or aconite from monk's hood, killing slowly as natural decline. While exaggerated, shinobi indeed studied toxins, datura for hallucinations, mercury salts for paralysis, hidden in salves or teas. A cure for stomach cramps might induce confession before death, blamed on bad humors. These tales deterred scrutiny. Guards hesitated, searching poison experts, fearing accidental contamination. Myths amplified effectiveness, turning healers into whispered threats. Disappearing quickly after providing treatment preserved the guise. missions timed for brevity, diagnose, treat, prescribe follow-up herbs, depart at dusk. Sudden calls from other villages or divine omens excused abrupt exits. Dropped amulets or forgotten pouches planted diversions, smoke from moxibustion masked retreats. Patience rarely pursued, gratitude lingered over questions. If pursued, alibis waited, real doctors in nearby towns confirmed passing through. Clean breaks prevented patterns linking visits to leaks or deaths. Medicinal tools repurposed for stealth missions showcased ingenuity. Acupuncture needles picked locks or stunned nerves. Lancets slit throats silently. Pestles ground flash powders. Syringes from animal bladders injected poisons or extracted samples. Bamboo cups held caltrops. Herbal steamers concealed smoke bombs. Rolled bandages hid garrots. Splints broke into climbing spikes. These dual-use items passed inspections. Guards saw medicine. Shinobi saw arsenal. Weight distribution balanced kits for long treks, ensuring mobility matched authenticity. Healer disguises excelled in prolonged ops. Repeated visits built networks. Epidemics justified sweeps. Women shinobi kunoichi posed as midwives, accessing harems. Risks included disease exposure or failed cures breeding enemies, but rewards outweighed. Secrets from deathbeds, poisons in banquets. Doctors humanized shinobi, contrasting assassin myths. Yet limits loomed, plagues halted travel, skeptical priests challenged law. Mastery demanded constant study, blending empathy with calculation. Performers and entertainers offered distraction next. Crowds as cover, applause as escape. Using entertainment to enter villages unnoticed turned shinobi into welcomed guests rather than suspected intruders. In feudal Japan, traveling troops of performers, jugglers, musicians, puppeteers, and storytellers were a rare joy amid harsh lives of labor and war. Villages competed to host them, offering food, shelter, and coin for tales of heroes, demons, and far-off lands. A ninja troupe arrived with drums, flutes, and colorful banners, instantly drawing crowds without questions. Guards at outposts waved them through as harmless amusements, never imagining the drummer mapped patrols or the singer memorized faces. Festivals and market days amplified this cover. Shinobi timed arrivals for Matsuri celebrations, blending into chaos where spies stood out. Acrobatics served dual purpose, genuine spectacle masking covert training for agility. Shinobi flipped, balanced on poles, and tumbled through flaming hoops, showcasing wall-scaling prowess as entertainment. Backward somersaults mimicked rooftop escapes. Pole vaults simulated castle breaches. Contortions hid weapon retrievals from hidden folds. Audiences gasped at feats honed for infiltration, leaping gaps between buildings or dodging arrows mid-air. Training regimens disguised as rehearsals built endurance. Hours tumbling on dirt roads toughened joints. Rope walking sharpened balance for tightropes over moats. What villagers cheered as tricks, shinobi wielded as survival. Distraction techniques through performance created perfect operational windows. While crowds fixated on a fire-eater breathing flames or a juggler spinning knives, accomplices slipped away, picking pockets for keys, eavesdropping on officials, or planting messages in unattended carts. A storyteller's dramatic pause timed guard rotations. Synchronized drumbeats masked ally signals. Shinobi orchestrated chaos subtly. A dropped prop scattered onlookers, exposing hidden watchers. Feigned mishaps like tripped fireworks drew eyes skyward, allowing rooftop scouts clear views. Performance hypnotized, turning vigilance to wonder. Singing or storytelling masked footsteps and gathered intel simultaneously. Ballads of ancient battles wove real troop movements into lyrics. The dragon's host marches from the eastern pass. Codes for allies amid epic verse. Wandering minstrels, gos or biwa hoshi, lingered at inns, their lute strums covering whispers, verses prompting listener boasts. A tale of betrayed lords elicited rivalries. Songs of famine drew supply complaints. Footsteps synchronized to rhythmic chants evaded notice during village strolls. Shinobi paced narratives to patrol beats, gliding past sentries chanting forgotten wars. Puppet shows, bunraku precursors, passed hidden signals masterfully. Karakuri dolls jerked on strings, distracting children while coded finger positions signaled waiting agents. Thumb crook for path clear, index curl for guards doubled. Tiny scrolls tucked into puppet heads, unrolled for map drops. Hollow torsos hid vials or keys. Crowds fixated on dialogues. Puppeteers voiced quarrels, mirroring clan feuds, drawing gossip from elders. A broken puppet spilled beans, literal and figurative, scattering diversions while real cargo transferred unseen. Puppetry's intricacy mirrored shinobi precision, miniature theaters enacting macro deceptions. Gaining crowd trust unlocked rumor floods. Performers fed villagers rice balls or sake, earning laughter and loosened tongues. Post-show mingling. What demons haunt your roads revealed bandit haunts or tax evasions. Women shinobi as dancers charmed guards into pillow talk. Jugglers traded tricks for trail tips. Trust built exponentially. One village's acclaim opened the next, networks spanning provinces. Shinobi curated repertoires regionally. Ghost stories near haunted castles sowed fear. Heroic epics flattered local samurai. Reciprocity bound informants. A healed child or mended tool repaid secrets gladly. Vanishing during applause or firelight perfected escapes. Climactic flips ended shows with somersaults into shadows. Fire eaters exhaled blinding smoke, cloaking retreats. Applause peaked as shinobi melted into dispersing crowds, drummer into porters, acrobat into laborers. Firelight festivals offered ideal cover, torch shadows hid faces, ember bursts masked powder flashes. A troop departed at dawn, splintering into solo travelers by dusk. Pursuit dissolved in confusion. Which way did the juggler go? Performance's ephemerality mirroring ninja transience. Using festivals as cover for infiltration, maximized opportunities. Annual Matsuri, Obon dances, New Year Kagura, drew thousands, guards overwhelmed by revelers. Shinobi posed as taiko drummers, infiltrating processions, mapping layouts amid parades. Bonfires and lanterns created blind spots for wall climbs. Sake-fueled chaos ignored, stumbled intruders. During Gion Matsuri floats, puppeteers accessed rooftops. Summer fireworks hid signal flares. Festivals suspended suspicion. Warriors danced. Peasants forgot grudges, allowing shinobi to case targets, deliver payloads, even assassinate amid accidental jostles. This guise's depth stemmed from cultural reverence for arts. No daimyo banned performers. They boosted morale, masked spies perfectly. Risks included rival troops, spotting fakes or drunken brawls exposing skills, but layered alibis, real performers in pay, covered tracks. Women excelled here, kunoichi dancers accessing harems via auspicious shows. Versatility shone. Long embeds as village players built year-long intel. Hit-and-run festivals enabled sabotage. Yet over-reliance bred patterns. Frequent troops raised eyebrows in small hamlets. Performers distracted masses, but mystics and priests commanded reverence. Next, Yamabushi ascetics blurring holy terror with hidden blades. Mimicking wandering ascetics and holy men allowed shinobi to embody an aura of untouchable sanctity in feudal Japan, where spiritual figures commanded automatic respect and safe passage. Yamabushi, mountain ascetics blending Shinto and Buddhist practices, roamed wild terrains, chanting sutras, performing exorcisms, and seeking enlightenment, their otherworldly presence deterring interference. Shinobi studied their rituals obsessively, adopting gojoso robes of patched white cloth symbolizing detachment, carrying fudamyu staffs topped with crossed vajra, and mastering shugendo chants invoking mountain kami. A fake Yamabushi arrived at village edges tolling bells, instantly granted lodging and food as a living saint, his wild hair and fierce gaze signaling divine favor rather than deception. Wearing tattered garments and ritual masks completed the fearsome transformation. Tattered robes, frayed hemp and bark cloth hung loosely, concealing tools in voluminous folds, hidden blades sewn into hems, pouches for flash powders in sleeves, ritual masks of tengu, long-nosed bird demons, or fierce guardians' covered faces, painted with vermilion and gold to evoke supernatural protection. These weren't mere costumes, they projected inviolability, attacking a Yamabushi invited curses or kami wrath. Shinobi distressed garments with mountain dirt, adding prayer beads, skull rosaries, and feather talismans for authenticity, the ragged holiness blending threat and reverence. Exploiting mystical reputation provided ironclad protection. Villagers and samurai alike feared offending mountain mystics, believed to curse disrespect or summon storms. A shinobi Yamabushi demanding shelter cited divine pilgrimage, met with bowing compliance. No searches, no questions. At castles, guards ushered holy wanderers to guest quarters. Lords offered audiences for blessings. This shield extended to interrogation immunity. The spirits forbid lies, deflected probes. Reputation amplified reach. Peasants shared secrets fearing omens. Warriors confessed sins for purification, turning piety into unwitting intelligence. Using conch shells, hora, and staffs as signaling tools, weaponized sacred props. Conch blasts, short for clear, long for danger, echoed miles through valleys, mimicking ritual calls while alerting allies. Staffs hid compartments, hollow cores for scrolls, detachable vajra heads as maces, goads for prodding horses doubled as caltrops. Tapping rhythms signaled during meditations, 3 raps for guards approaching, circling for path safe. These everyday items passed scrutiny. Who disassembled a holy relic? During processions, shells masked coded horn blasts guiding infiltrators. Access to sacred mountain routes offered covert travel advantages unmatched by other guises. Yamabushi claimed exclusive pilgrimage paths, steep trails to peaks like Dewa-sanzan or Omine, closed to commoners as kami domains. Shinobi exploited this. Posing as ascetics traversed hidden passes, bypassing checkpoints, summits scouting valleys undetected. Mountain networks linked Iga and Koga clans. Caves served as dead drops, hot springs as meeting points. Winter ascents honed endurance, spiritual trials covering sabotage treks. Sacred status deterred pursuit. Follow the holy man into forbidden peaks at your peril. Mixing spiritual authority with intelligence gathering created potent espionage. Yamabushi performed Goma fire rituals at villages, flames revealing troop banners glimpsed afar. Purification dances circled castles, mapping walls. Exorcisms for haunted homes accessed interiors, chants covering whispers to servants. Confessionals drew elite secrets. Samurai seeking absolution revealed battle plans. Ladies bared court intrigues. Blended roles yielded layered intel, spiritual cover for observation, authority extracting voluntary disclosures. A vision warning of betrayal shadows sowed targeted paranoia. Spreading rumors advanced psychological warfare seamlessly. Yamabushi prophecies. The mountain kami decree famine unless taxes cease, stirred peasant unrest, diverting garrisons. Curses on dishonest lords, fractured alliances, omens of demon winds from the east, delayed marches. Delivered amid trance-like chants, these divine words spread virally. Pilgrims carried them to distant domains. Villagers repeated as gospel. Shinobi timed revelations. Pre-siege portents thinned defenses. Post-raid blessings amplified chaos. Rumors blurred into folklore. Shinobi fingerprints erased by supernatural framing. Disguises blurred religion and espionage lines masterfully. A Yamabushi blessing troops gathered formations. Ascetic meditations at shrines overheard priests spying for daimyo. Exercising castle ghosts. Staged noises. Mapped layouts. Pilgrim groups hid multi-persona teams. Chants covering merchant drops. Masks concealing farmer scouts. High-risk ops used dual layers, outer ascetic shell shedding to warrior garb mid-mission, blurring sanctified deception, turning holy detachment into calculated infiltration. This guise's power lay in cultural depth. Shugendo syncretism spanned warrior monks to folk healers, flexible for adaptation. Women kunoichi posed as Miko shrine maidens, accessing women-only spaces. Risks loomed, skeptical abbots challenged sutras, rival Yamabushi spotted fakes, curses backfiring if unfulfilled. Mastery demanded years, ritual fluency rivaled temple monks, endurance matched hermits. Yamabushi offered mystic mobility, but elite impersonations risked everything. Next, samurai and officials, where one slip meant instant death. Forging or stealing identification papers formed the foundation of elite impersonations, turning shinobi into temporary nobility. Samurai carried inro pouches with clan seals, travel permits, teppo or daimyo warrants, documents inspected at every gate. Shinobi replicated these using stolen blanks, rice paper replicas inked with berry dyes mimicking official vermilion, and wax seals cast from pilfered originals. A retainer flashed a forged missive from Lord Tokugawa demanding audience. Officials waved through without deep scrutiny. Stealing real papers from slain couriers provided authenticity, bloodstains explained as road ambush, urgency adding credibility. These props bought minutes of access, enough for a meeting or strike. Altering posture to resemble trained warriors demanded grueling transformation. Samurai carried themselves with rigid spine, deliberate strides, and contained power. Years of dojo drilling etched into muscle memory. Shinobi bound torsos tightly, weighted shoulders with hidden pads mimicking armor bulk, and practiced dohyo footwork until natural. They swung arms precisely, heads high with predatory scan, avoiding peasant slouch. Mirror drills and peer critiques honed the illusion. A single limp or hunch exposed fraud. This physicality fooled not just eyes, but instincts. Guards sensed one of us, subconsciously. Learning etiquette of high-ranking classes required immersion in forbidden worlds. Shinobi shadowed banquets incognito as servants, memorizing tea ceremonies, chanoyu, flower arrangements, ikebana, and haiku exchanges signaling status. Bow depths varied, 15 degrees for equals, 45 for superiors. Chopstick placement denoted rank. Sword-handling rituals, sake pouring sequences, and verbal indirection, the cherry blossom falls early, marked insiders. Months studying court scrolls and bribing informants built fluency. A wrong phrase shattered guises instantly. Mastery allowed casual dominance, dismissing underlings, demanding priority, bypassing suspicion through social command. Mimicking courier urgency bypassed gates effortlessly. Messengers rode hard, cloaks dust-caked, shouting official dispatch, Lord's eyes only. Shinobi adopted this frenzy. Lathered horses, sweat-streaked faces, barked commands. Forged scrolls sealed with urgency knots. Immediate, compelled instant passage. Guards feared demotion for delays. At castles, couriers dismounted yelling protocols, shoving past lines. This chaos granted entry to inner yards, enough time to deliver messages, poisons, scouts, or map armories. Feigned exhaustion, post-entry excused lingering, awaiting reply, buying reconnaissance hours. Risks of impersonating authority figures loomed catastrophically high. Exposure meant not quick death, but ritual torture, boiling oil, skinning alive, clan purges. Samurai trained to spot imposters, subtle sword grips, haori fold angles, family crest variations. A wrong bow, limp dialect, or hesitant katana draw triggered alarms. High stakes amplified paranoia. Guards double-checked elites during tensions. Failed guises ignited domain-wide hunts. Captured shinobi, tortured for clan names, sparking retaliatory raids. Survival hinged on flawless execution. One slip erased months of prep. Using short interactions, minimized detection windows. Shinobi planned 30-second exchanges. Salute, flash papers, state purpose, enter. No lingering chats, urgent tones, deflected questions. Lord commands speed. Assassinations time for hallways, slash mid-stride, flee as confusion peaked. Intel grabs snatched documents during handoffs, memorized en route. Brevity exploited hierarchy. Superiors rarely chatted inferiors. Authority silenced doubt. Exit strategies layered. Smoke from pipe. Dropped flash paper. Shouts of intruders elsewhere. Short ops maximized success. Minimized interrogation risk. Assassination missions requiring elite disguises targeted untouchables. A trusted retainer poured sake laced with blowfish toxin during feasts. Forged warrants summoned guards away pre-strike. Courier guises delivered urgent summons, luring lords to ambushes. Samurai personas challenged rivals to honor duels, ending in hidden blades. High-profile hits like Oda Nobunaga aids demanded perfection. Etiquette flawless. Backstory memorized from spied conversations. Escape relied on chaos. Staged brawls, fire arrows from alleys, bloodied cloaks shed for peasant rags. These ops defined shinobi legends, one man's poise toppling dynasties. When impersonation failed, consequences cascaded brutally. Captured samurai endured gokumonji, sealed interrogation boxes, forcing confessions via starvation. Exposed couriers triggered border lockdowns, purging merchant networks. A botched official triggered vendettas. Entire spy rings executed publicly, heads displayed. Survivors faced outlaw status. Hunted across provinces, clans disavowed. Failures scarred legacies. Eager tales warned of the false bushi who walked like a lord but died screaming. Lessons hardened training. Risks refined selection. Only elite shinobi attempted highborn skins. Yet rewards justified peril. Toppled regimes, stolen treaties, assassinated tyrants. Samurai guises unlocked war rooms. Courier speed traversed quarantined lands. Layered identities, outer courier shedding to inner assassin, mitigated exposure. Women kunoichi posed as ladies-in-waiting, accessing harems denied men. High-risk mastery showcased shinobi apex, not brute force, but audacious deception conquering untouchable elites. Triumphs reshaped history, failures fueled cautionary scrolls. Layering identities offered final evolution. Next, multi-persona odysseys, where one man became legion across provinces. Combining multiple disguises during long missions, elevated shinobi craft to symphonic complexity, turning single operatives into fluid networks across weeks or months. A mission spanning provinces demanded seamless shifts, entering as a merchant at coastal ports, morphing into a farmer mid-journey to traverse rural checkpoints, then emerging as a monk at mountain passes. Layering prevented pattern recognition. Guards saw unrelated travelers, not one man threading their domain. Tools adapted per role. Merchant cart abandoned for farmer's hoe bundle, monk staff concealing the same tanto. This multiplicity multiplied effectiveness. One shinobi gathered intel from elite merchants, peasant gossip, and holy confessions without repetition. Transitioning personas across regions required meticulous planning and environmental cues. Shinobi scouted change points, riverside inns for merchant to farmer sheds, temple groves for farmer to monk rituals, clothing swaps hid in hollow trees or allied haystacks, makeup altered with river clay or ash, dialects flipped mid-conversation, Kansai trader lilt yielding to Tohoku peasant growl, timing synced with natural flows, dusk merchant camps dissolved into dawn pilgrim processions. Failed transitions meant exposure. Mastery made changes invisible, like water reshaping in new vessels. Maintaining several false names and backgrounds demanded ironclad memory and fabricated histories. Each persona carried unique lore. Merchant Hiroshi from Osaka with 3 sons and sake debts. Farmer Taro of rural Yamagata, widowed with bad knee. Monk Enno Gyoja, orphaned ascetic seeking enlightenment. Backstories cross-verified internally. Hiroshi knew Taro from a market brawl, linking layers. Props reinforced. Merchant ledger listed fake debts. Farmer scars from childhood plow accident. monk prayer beads etched with invented sutra verses. Juggling these prevented slips, a name mismatch under stress doomed ops, using disguises to escape pursuit, weaponized transformation as evasion. Hot on a merchant's trail, shed cart at river ford, emerged downstream as limping fisherman with pole-hiding blade, samurai hunting monk, shave beard in cave, don laborer rags, join harvest crew. Pursuit fragmented across personas, witnesses described conflicting figures, tall trader with scar, short priest with limp, stooped porter with basket, shinobi planted decoys, abandoned merchant hats, monk sandals leading to cliffs, forcing searchers to chase ghosts while true path diverged. Manipulating memory, letting people misremember, exploited human recall flaws. Shinobi used suggestion. You saw the merchant with blue scarf, yes? Planted amid chaos, witnesses nodding to fit narratives, partial views, blurred details, face half-shadowed, height misjudged by posture. Post-op rumors via allies muddied accounts. It was a one-eyed bandit, not priest. Crowds conflated sightings. One man's layered trail became folklore phantoms. Psychological pressure amplified. Fear-warped memories grew monstrous. Shinobi fading into legend. Destroying evidence of the real identity ensured clean breaks. Mission-end rituals incinerated core props, identity-sewn hems burned, name-inscribed talismans dissolved in acid vials, bloodied true garb sunk in weighted bundles, false trails looped back, merchant ledgers stolen by thieves, monk sutra scrolls lost to river spirits, allies retrieved reusable tools via dead drops. Shinobi shed skin completely, emerging blank slate for next role. Paranoia demanded totality, no fibers, no sense, no whispers linking layers. The psychological toll of continuous transformations eroded even elite minds. Living as other, fractured self, weeks as farmer-bred peasant fatalism, months as samurai arrogance. Identity blurred. Mirrors showed strangers, dreams mixed personas, isolation compounded, no true confidants, constant performance drained empathy. Veterans reported empty man syndrome, post-mission stupor, speech halting between dialects. Rare breakdowns occurred. Ops aborted when Shinobi forgot true name mid-interrogation. Clans mandated rest cycles, tea rituals grounding fractured psyches, but toll shortened careers. Mastery demanded detachment bordering dissociation. Final mission reports written in coded identity layers preserved operational genius. Scrolls used multi-persona ciphers. Merchant tallies hid troop counts. Farmer crop yields encoded gate layouts, monk sutras mapped escape routes, layers nested, outer merchant text for casual readers, inner farmer glyphs for captains, deepest monk verse for lords. Accompanying sketches layered too, surface castle diagrams, hidden ink revealed under heat. Reports self-destructed via acid triggers or fire-start salts, knowledge internalized by recipients. This archiving turned ephemeral missions into clan lore, layered disguises immortalized in ink. Layering's pinnacle shone in legendary ops, single shinobi toppling regimes via merchant-farmer monk chains, intel cascades reshaping wars, eager tales whispered of 10 faces, one man unraveling 3 domains. Risks escalated exponentially. Layer slips cascaded exposures, but triumphs redefined shinobi as identity architects. Psychological mastery sustained them, but what of the endgame? Conclusion reveals ninjas as behavior puppeteers, not blade shadows, humanity's chameleons commanding unseen. Disguise mastery reveals the ninja as an intelligence operative, not a mere warrior, a master of human behavior and identity control who turned society's own expectations against it. Far from the black-clad assassins of legend, real shinobi were chameleons who spent more time blending as farmers, monks, merchants, and laborers than leaping rooftops. Their genius lay in understanding that people ignore the ordinary. A woodcutter hauling bundles sees castle layouts unnoticed. A healer treating wounds overhears bedchamber secrets. A storyteller distracts guards while accomplices slip past. This wasn't brute stealth, but profound psychological insight, knowing how posture, accent, gesture, and backstory shaped trust. Samurai trained bodies for battle. Shinobi trained minds to exploit every social cue, becoming invisible by becoming indispensable. One man's layered personas could map domains, sow discord, assassinate elites, and vanish without trace, proving information and deception conquered where swords failed. Understanding their transformations uncovers a more realistic and sophisticated shinobi than pop culture's exaggerated portrayals. Hollywood sells acrobatic superhumans hurling shuriken. History shows patient observers who lived months as peasants, memorized dialects, forged documents, and juggled false identities without cracking. No magic smoke bombs, just weathered rags, herbal pouches, and flawless etiquette. Kunoichi women infiltrated harems as dancers or midwives. Yamabushi mystics traversed sacred peaks scouting armies. These weren't comic book fighters, but strategic artists of adaptation. Their high-risk samurai impersonations or merchant networks reshaping wars through whispers and sleight of hand. Pop culture romanticizes the blade. Reality honors the brain, the true ninja weapon that made empires doubt their own eyes. If ninja disguises as intelligence mastery blew your mind, subscribe for more hidden shinobi truths, smash like to honor the real masters of transformation, and comment your favorite persona, monk, merchant, or mystic. The shadows reveal their secrets only to those who seek.